I remember the exact moment I caught it. Not a fight, not a conversation, just a random Tuesday. They were talking about summer and it was all, I want to go there, and I was thinking of doing this. No we, no us, no, maybe we could. Just I, just them, just a future that had quietly stopped including me. I have to admit I didn't say anything. I just laughed at something they said and changed the subject. Because looking at it directly meant I'd have to do something about it, and I didn't want that yet. Nobody warned me that's how it goes. That the future disappears from someone's language before it disappears from the relationship. That you can lose the plan before you lose them. I had to learn that the hard way. Through months of shrinking myself into someone who didn't ask questions because the answers were too expensive. Soft didn't work on me, soft just gave me more time to pretend, so that's not what you're getting here. Listen, it didn't start with a conversation. It never does it? It started with a word. Or rather the absence of one, we, us, our. Those tiny words that tell you where you stand without anyone having to say anything directly. And one day, not dramatically, not obviously, they just stopped showing up. No more, we should do that someday, no more, our place, or our thing. Just I, just them, just a future being quietly drafted without you in it. And you felt it, didn't you? Not clearly, not in a way you could point at and name. More like a shift in temperature. Something cooler in the air that you couldn't explain, so you didn't try. You told yourself you were overthinking, you told yourself relationships go through phases, you told yourself a lot of things that kept you from having to look directly at what was happening. See, that's the thing nobody talks about. The fear isn't really about losing them, not at that stage. The fear is about what you'll have to do if you let yourself see it clearly, because seeing it means admitting it. And admitting it means moving, and moving means everything changes, and you weren't ready for everything to change. So you looked away, right? You laughed at the right moments, you made the plans they half committed to. You filled the silence with your own we's, your own us, hoping it was contagious. Hoping if you kept saying it they'd start saying it back. But they didn't. Because here's what was actually happening. They had already started editing you out. Somewhere in them a decision was forming, and the language changed first because language always does. Before the conversation, before the admission, before the moment they finally say the thing you've been dreading. The words change, the future tense disappears, the plans stop including you. And you were there for all of it, weren't you? I was too. I sat in conversations where I'd stopped existing in their future, and I smiled, and nodded, and pretended I hadn't noticed. Because noticing meant the whole thing was about to collapse. And I'd already invested so much. So much time, so much of myself. You don't just walk away from that because someone stopped saying, we, do you? Except you kind of do, or you should. Because that's exactly the moment to walk away. Not after the fight, not after the confession. Right there, when the future goes quiet in their mouth. That's the moment. But nobody tells you that, nobody sits you down and says, pay attention to the pronouns, pay attention to whether you exist in next month, next summer, next year. Nobody says that's where the truth lives. So you miss it, or you half see it and decide not to see it fully because full sight costs too much. And then comes the slow unraveling. The plans that never materialize, the future that keeps shrinking. The version of yourself that keeps adjusting, keeps making room, keeps trying to fit into a space that's getting smaller, because they're quietly taking up more of it without you in it. Yeah, that's what the missing we actually meant. It meant they were already somewhere you weren't. Already building something, even if just in their head, that didn't have your name in it. And every time you filled that silence with your own hope, your own we, your own us, you were just extending something that had already quietly ended on their side. That's not your fault. You didn't have the information you needed, or you had it, and it was dressed up in just enough ambiguity to make doubt feel reasonable. You knew, didn't you? Not in a way you were ready to act on. But somewhere underneath all the explaining away, the benefit of the doubt, the desperate hope that you were just being paranoid, you knew. The we was gone, and with it quietly, so were you. And here's the part that really stings. You didn't just lose the relationship, you lost the future you'd already built in your head. The one with their name in it, the trips, the plans, the ordinary Tuesday nights that were supposed to keep happening. That future. The one that was already yours in your mind before they'd even properly committed to it. You were grieving something they'd already let go of. While they were standing right there, while you were still trying, while you were still saying, we. That's not weakness, that's what happens when nobody teaches you to listen to the language. To notice when the future stops including you before anyone said a word about it. You were paying attention to all the wrong things, weren't you? The big moments, the arguments, the apologies. When the real information, the actual truth of where things stood, was sitting quietly in the pronouns the whole time. Well, here it is. They stopped saying, we, and you felt it. You felt it before you could name it, before you were ready to do anything about it. You felt it and you chose the explanation over the truth, because the truth was too heavy to pick up that day. And the next day, and the one after that. That's just what fear does, it makes the lie feel kinder than the clarity. But you're here now, which means some part of you is finally ready to stop looking away. And look, what you do with that clarity is up to you.